right, so this video we're going to be going over advanced dayparting using PPC bulk files. This is going to be using the Chrome extension along with PPC export files from Ad Tactics to basically alternate the files either at different times of the day or different days of the week. So the SOP is up here. You're basically going to download and sync your bulk file in Ad Tactics. If you're watching this video, you're probably already somewhat familiar with Ad Tactics and Autopilot and just kind of the process. You basically import, you hit this button to sync the data, then you're going to run the data through Ad Tactics, and then you're going to export the file here when everything's kind of good to go. So you do have to kind of understand the basics before you get to more of the advanced stuff like this video covers. But the basic process, just from a basic understanding, is you're going to sync your bulk file data. Then you're going to run Autopilot for quote unquote like your normal bids. So that'll be one export. Then you're going to generate some additional export files based on whatever kind of day parting rules you're wanting to run. So had a user message us and he was wanting to like reduce his bids by 50% on the weekends. And in my experience, the reducing bids work a lot better than totally pausing targets. Sometimes when you go to re-enable targets back, your performance just isn't where it used to be, where the kind of reducing bids, 50% is quite a bit. I typically don't go that much, but that's what he wanted to do in his example. Another good use case, which I'll throw in this video, is say after like 5 p.m. when some of the other competitors have spent their budget, you bump your modifiers up and really attack top of search and get some lower CPC clicks for those. That's good for ranking and just conversions overall. So I'll also cover some more advanced kind of strategies and day parting rule thresholds towards the end. What I've got here, I'm in Autopilot, and the first step is always going to be to kind of generate that first normal bids file. So you want to make sure the bulk file that you download, you've got the date range worth of data that you want to analyze, and your bids when you download them are kind of in the quote unquote normal, normal bid state. So if you download your bulk file and your bids are in like a day parting state, those base bids, modifiers, all of that's going to be potentially not what you want when you have the data that you're analyzing. So you got to kind of plan this out before you really go and execute it. So I've got my bulk file in here. I've got it synced, and it's my base bid, base modifier. Everything's kind of the standard base state. All right, so now this would be like an example of this week. I'm kind of setting things up. You're basically going to set it up at once and export your files once, and then you're going to load them into the Chrome extension and let them kind of alternate automatically throughout the week and throughout the day based on your inputs. So you'd want to run your rules. So you can see here, this is a more advanced setup with portfolio overrides, and we've got some metrics over here. If you do want help kind of setting your Autopilot up, we do have a new scale assisted program. You can check us out on our homepage for that. But you may have more of a basic kind of base bid Autopilot recipe set up, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You're just going to run that. So you can see I've got all my rules here set up. And then down here at the bottom, I've got some day parting rules. Right now they're toggled off. So step one would just be to run these rules for your base bid. So I'm going to do that really quick. All right. And then once that runs, you'll have all of your changes for all of your targets. So you can hop over to your sponsor products file, for example, and if you want to kind of tweak anything or review anything, you can use the bid rule column there and go through your different ad type sheets. So that's pretty well the standard Autopilot process. And this is going to be your base bid file. So you want to kind of start from here. Once you're comfortable with the optimized bids here in red, you'll just come up and export the file like normal. The combo file here, that's going to generate one file with all your ad type sheets in it that you can just upload. So if you're creating your base bid file, this is the one I'd recommend. So just click on that. Once that is done, you'll get this prompt here. Just hit OK. And what you can do, you can go into your FBA Excel export files folder in your Google Drive. It'll just be in the root Google Drive that you're using with FBA Excel. And you'll find that first file. What I do recommend is just right click, rename that. And I'll just put at the end of this base bid, and then I like to put 4/7 for the date. All right, and just hit OK. Now to use with the Chrome extension, you do need to either make it, I think view works as well. I always typically just make it edit. So just change this and then hit done. So you'll need that to give access to the Chrome extension here. But before we do that, we need to go into autopilot and do our day parting rules. So we basically created one export file first, which are our base bids. Now we need to make a second and potentially third day parting kind of version of our export file. And then we're going to save that in the same manner. So, all right, so now we're done with step 2 here. So step 3 is now we're going to rerun autopilot for our day parting rules, and then we're going to generate these special export files that will run in addition to our base bid file. All right, so what you'll do is just turn off the normal rules. All right, and what I like to do at this point is go up to version history and just name a version, and I'm going to call it or I'll call it base bid. It just means my base bids are still set up in my bulk file, and I've ran my base bid kind of rule set, and it's going to be before I run any day parting rules. So if you want to make it a little clearer, before day parting. Okay. So you can do this different ways. This is just how I like to do it to kind of keep things organized and straight in my head. So if we go back to kind of our goal here, the first one I'm going to do is a increase in the top of search modifiers by 50% for our top performing campaigns. All right, so that is these thresholds here. So obviously you can customize them however you want. 50%, that's going to increase the modifier percentage from, if it's 35, it'll go up to 85. And then it's going to keep the base bids the same. We do have coming next week some really exciting placement algorithms that we're adding, so stay tuned for that. You can obviously incorporate those type of logic in this process here for kind of creating your special day parting rules. This is just one example. Another good one is your campaign budgets, bumping your budgets up at certain times of the day so it's executed the same way. All right, so I'm going to run these one at a time. Obviously, if you had multiple rule criteria, you could run these together like kind of we did our base bid setup. But in this example, I'm just going to run this one. So I'm just going to rerun it by clicking that button. All right, so you can see 92 placements got edited. So if you're nervous at all about messing this up, this is the process I would recommend you do at this point. Come over to the bid rule column and sort this Z to A. That's going to move all of the edited rows for the bid adjustment entity, which is the top of search you can see here. And then what I would do is just scroll down to where the rules stop. So it'll be, whatever those 92 rows were. And then we're going to just delete everything else after this on our sponsored products campaign sheet. So I'm going to just hold in the shift and then go all the way down and click, and then right click once here and hit delete selected rows. Now all I've got are these 92 placement rows. So you don't have to worry about, making some silly mistake on all the other stuff. So from here, all you're going to do is you're going to export, and you can actually export an individual ad type file, just your sponsored product sheet, and it's just going to export basically what we're looking at right now. So I'm going to hit that. All right, so after that exports, you can do the same thing, come back here and rename it and just say daily 5 p.m. or something like that. Hit OK. So now we know we got that one. Just make sure it's edit access and done. All right, and then come back in here. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to version history. All right, and you'll just click base bid before day parting and click restore this version. There'll be a little button that pops up there. So you can see we're back now in the state of the tool before we ran this rule here. All right, so now we've got two. We've got our base bid file, and we've got our 50% daily. Now we need to do our weekend file. So our weekend file, we're actually going to reduce all the bids by 50%. So we're going to just click on that, and you can see, because I don't have any thresholds here, it's going to literally reduce every target. If you wanted to segment and only reduce it on certain portfolios, you could do it like this. You can do it by a list of campaigns, a list of portfolios, a list of targets even. So a lot of different options. Pretty much anything you can dream up on this autopilot, you can segment things by. But yeah, and you can also add thresholds here, which I don't have. So it's going to just do it to all of our targets in this case. Now, if you wanted to do it for only certain match types, you could also turn off this all button and just tick the different match types for the different ad types that you want. But I am going to do it for all of them because that's what the user was asking for. All right, so I'm literally just going to come up here and click this button now again. So after that runs, you can see it ran it over here across all of our targets, and we don't have any up here showing that they're no rule target counts. So pretty much everything in our bulk file across all four or three ad types rather had gotten modified by 50%. Now the user wasn't clear if you wanted to modify, if you wanted to base the 50% on the kind of old bid of the base bid file or of the optimized bid that we did in step 1 here and reduce that by 50%. You can easily do either one. The one we did here is we just used the original kind of bid, for the original old bid from when the bulk file got downloaded. If you did want to do the modified bid, you would have needed to, before we just ran the step we did, literally just copy this red column and paste the values into AE and then run autopilot, and then it would have reduced it off of that. But this here example, you can see it took the number and reduced it by 50% off of that old bid. And then similarly, like the last one, if you're nervous about messing this up, just go ahead and sort the bid rule Z to A. And then if you hit Control Shift down, that'll take you to the bottom here. And then you can delete all the other rows. So that's going to just leave your targeting rows. And if you want to do this to the other ad type files as well, you can do that if you want to do a combo file. Or if you're just wanting to do this with sponsored products, you can use this export here. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a combo file, and for the sake of this example. All right, and then you'll just rename that. So I'll just call it weekend drop 50 or whatever, so you know what it is. And then make this edit. All right. Before we hop into the Chrome extension, I just wanted to quickly mention that these are obviously just pretty generic examples. Like, you can do more elaborate things. Like if you notice that your headline search ads for sponsored brands certain times of the day aren't performing well, or maybe they are performing well, or the pause rule example that I said I actually don't recommend, but you can definitely do it. You can set that up. So this is just an example of kind of that. You would expand this, turn this off, so you don't want to do it to all ads. You want to do it just to headline search. Similarly, if you wanted to do something with video ads, you can do that. This is exact match only headline search, pausing them. So you would just pretty much replicate the steps where you're generating a special export file for whatever ad types you want. And the other kind of lever that you have with respect to dayparting rules is the boosted column thresholds. And soon we're going to have the placement rules for the base bid and modifier kind of combined logic. So keep an eye out for that. But the boosted thresholds are here. So, you've got organic rank, sponsored rank, search volume, there's search query performance. One of the new ones that's really powerful is the top of search impression share. So there's some training videos on this. I'm going to be redoing them here shortly. But just know that like these thresholds are kind of behind the scenes as well, that you can build logic into, similar how you build the yellow columns here. But you do need some supplemental reports to populate this data in your bulk file. So it's in the training members area. It's out of the scope of this video, so I'm not going to cover that. But just know you can kind of generate really elaborate logic, and then with this method of exporting and generating these Dayparting files, you can do quite a bit. So anyway, let's hop into the Chrome extension now. All right, so you're going to want to open the uploader, the bulk ads uploader. It's the very first one here, and just click on that button and add upload task. All right, so it's pretty easy. You just need to kind of think through things a bit depending on what you're trying to do. So if it's, let's say it's 8:36 right now, and I want to upload my normal bid file and run that currently, you could just upload that manually, and then you'd kind of start this Dayparting process on kind of the next upload. So the next upload would be a 5 p.m. modifier file. So I'm just going to call this weekday after 5 p.m. 50% increase, top of search. All right. So it's based on your computer time. So if I want to do it at 5, I'd literally just do 5:00 p.m. And then this URL here, you need to get it from your bulk sheet URL. So it's going to be this URL. It'll have an entity ID after it. You just need to make sure you grab all of that. So copy that, paste that there. All right. And then the URL is literally the edit URL here that we saved. All right, so our daily 5 p.m., since we already made it edit access, you can just hit copy link, and then I'm going to paste that here. All right, now if you want to do this every day, I think we just said during the week we want to do this, so I'm just going to hold in shift and select all of those. If you want to like do even days or something, you can hit control and do that. So after this, I'm going to save this task, and what this is going to do now, at 5 p.m. on these days, it's going to upload this file until I, delete it and put in another one. So this is going to happen today for the first time. Now I'm also going to set up the other files. So you've got to kind of think of this as, the weekday one, and we've also got our base bid file, which we want to use on weekdays. So I'm going to do that one next. All right, so that link is our base bid. So I'm just going to copy that link here and then create another task. And I'm going to call this just weekday base bid. All right. And then you just got to decide what time you want to put this in play. So I'm going to say 8 a.m. every day. So 8 a.m. All right. Marketplace. And then you'd want to choose the same days as well. So using this task and the previous task, you can see it's basically just going to upload this one at 8 a.m. and then it's going to upload the other one at 5 p.m. and then it's going to upload the next day this one at 8 a.m. It's just going to alternate back and forth. All right, so I'm going to hit save task now, and I've got that one loaded. Now I just need to do my third one, and then I think he said he wanted to do this at Friday at like 8 o'clock or something, let's say. So I'm just going to say 8 p.m. All right, paste that link there. That link there. All right, so Friday is when this would run. So you don't need to choose Saturday and Sunday because we just want this to happen on Fridays. So I'm going to hit save task. All right, now if I expand this, let's just review what we've got. So basically, I'm going to go now to my bulk sheets here and upload just manually my base bid file, and then that will kind of start off the sequence. And then now, later today at 5 p.m., you do need to keep this tab open. So just keep your browser open. You actually don't need this tab, but you need this kind of browser session to stay open under this Chrome account that you have the extension logged into. But what it's going to do at 5 p.m., it's going to upload this file, and that's going to increase my modifiers by 50%. And then it's going to, at 8 a.m. the following day, it's going to upload my base bid again, and it's going to alternate between these two back and forth until Friday at 8 p.m., where then it's going to upload my base bid reduction file that drops everything by 50%. And then it's going to pick back up with a new file for it'd be my base bid file, which would be the first one that comes to. So that's the 8 a.m. file. All right, so you may want to potentially update these and create these files weekly. In that case, you would have to kind of delete and repopulate these weekly. If things are going well, you may want to let it go longer, but that's the basic process for getting more advanced with your day parting strategies. With bulk files, keep in mind you can pretty much edit anything in your bulk files, so you can do a lot more and kind of customize things a lot more from a strategic standpoint than you can with just the generic like pause at certain times of the day like some of the other tools do. So that's why I really like bulk files. So all right guys, I will see you on the next training video. Cheers.